Okay. With that, I would like to call to order this meeting of the town board of the town of Northeast. Today is Thursday, October 10th, 2024, 7 o'clock. And I would like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Julie, would you kindly conduct a roll call
Yes. Supervisor Cannon,
here?
Councilwoman Morrison. Here. Councilman Fidele,
Here.
Councilwoman Winkler. Here. Councilman Mayville.
Here.
Thank you. The board is all here. I have distributed a copy of the agenda to the board, and would like to make an amendment to the agenda. I'm going to add a executive session with our counsel for the purposes of discussing pending litigation. With that addition, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. My comments are fairly limited tonight. We've already covered the change of season. This is the last town board meeting before the election in November. And it's a big day always in our community, and I will be getting out a town supervisor email to remind people of when election day. There is early voting that is possible, which starts, I think, a couple of weeks before election day. And I will get out those dates and where that is something that people can do. I'm going to be talking probably quite a bit tonight about EMS services and the ambulance contract. I just want to mention that I did have a meeting with the county executive last week for the purpose of discussing a lot of things, but the meeting was really dominated by discussion of EMS services. And then we learned a few days after that meeting that the Commissioner of Emergency Response, Dana Smith, had resigned. And so that is that's too bad for what we are trying to do at the moment, because that is the department which oversees emergency response. But I will talk more about that as we get to EMS. I also had a meeting this afternoon, and Kathy Chow of the Climate Smart Task Force was also there with the 10 Mile River Collaborative. And this is an effort which has gone on from before I became supervisor. George Kay was a participant in that. It is an effort to focus on the entire 10 Mile River watershed. And I'm sure everybody is aware that the Weebatuck Creek, Kelsey Brook, and the Weebatuck Creek flow into the 10 Mile, and the 10 Mile flows into the Housatonic, which flows into Long Island Sound. One of the things which has been very important about this collaborative is helping us here appreciate that what we do in taking care of the stream that flows through our town, the wetlands that flow into it, and the properties that drain into it, affects downriver communities, affects Long Island Sound So we are all part of a much larger ecosystem. And the 10 Mile Collaborative has been working on a plan for the 10 Mile watershed. And that's been a process that's been going on at, fairly slow pace, but consistently over the past 5 to 6 years, and will continue to be, and I'm sure there'll be some things to talk about down the road. With that, Bob, Highway Department,
So we have the shared bucket truck this month, the whole month of October, so we're busy out taking down dead trees. Taking up most of our time.
mhm. And we're all over the town.
Got it all over town.
Mhm,
Yeah, we're on Morrisville Road today.
okay. And these are trees that are in in the right of way of the roads, or hanging over the roads, or basically,
The majority of them are in the right of way.
Yeah.
Occasionally, if one is endangering
the right of way.
the right of way, we will also take that down.
Mhm, okay. How long do we have the bucket truck for?
For the whole month of October, and then we get it again for the month of April.
Right, and this is a shared bucket truck, and
Shared between 4 towns,
what are the 4 towns that share it?
Rhinebeck, Clinton, Mound, Northeast.
Right. I think it's important for people to understand that I think this is one of the very good things that happens in this county, which is that towns can work together and share equipment. That no town would really need full-time to have that piece of equipment. And that's about what you've got going on up there.
That's it.
The one other thing which I will mention is that we have been at the request of the fire department, which is resurfacing the floor in the firehouse. We have been storing some of the fire engines up in our garage. They asked originally if they could store the fire engines in the old highway garage. And we're told they don't fit, which speaks to why we have built a new highway garage. Anyway, the nice thing is that they fit beautifully in the new highway garage. I went up there and took some pictures of them in the garage. And maybe we'll see some of those pictures down the road, but it is good to see that the town is using one of its facilities to help out another unit of one of our local entities, the fire district. How long are those fire trucks there for?
7 days.
Okay. And I think they're in the process of resurfacing the floors in the firehouse,
In the newer firehouse, yes.
in the old firehouse,
The newer one.
in the newer one. Okay. There is no report from the assessor tonight. She is online in case we have questions, but she doesn't have a formal report. Tilly, you have distributed copies of the planning, zoning, building department reports.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I have received letters of complaint from Dave Decker, written September 15th, Sunday at 3 p.m. and at 5:47 p.m. regarding shooting at the gun club. They're on file in my office.
All right. Thank you. Town board committee activity. Meg, do we have anything on housing?
Well, number one, we're just looking forward to the ZRC passing the draft to the board, and then we'll go from there on the housing. But in the Tri-Town Council meeting yesterday there's some activity happening in our neighboring towns. Hopefully we can share that in the very near future, but really positive opportunities that will be coming.
This is the
the
accessory apartment.
Well, 2 things, one being that we have an opportunity to, as towns, join together to apply for a grant for the +1 grant program, which helps folks be able to build accessory dwelling units. So in our code and all of our towns around us, everyone's code does allow for this. So these
or to renovate an
is
existing
renovate
structure.
or, yeah,
Right.
or convert or build, and the grants go up to $175,000. So we as municipalities can put in a request to be able to be the administrators for folks to apply, but then they're responsible for filling out the applications and the follow-up. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of money to be had for this program, and there's a lot of interest from the residents, at least, folks have asked us before. People call and ask about our zoning. And at the Housing Expo here, people were very interested, especially seniors that their homes are too big for them and they could use the income, but they also need assistance of how to convert their spaces to allow for, having residence basically or rental. So, but I mean, you did a survey and small, but they got a very good response, and Pine Plains, there's a lot of people interested. So we'll
Mhm.
follow up on that, and then there's some buildings potentially going up right around us that'll be apartments and
Do you-
townhouses for rent and for sale.
Do you recall how Menia did the survey?
They sent it, they posted it on their website and they sent out postcards. I mean, they thought it was a big success. I mean, you're talking about like maybe 50 people, out of what
Yeah,
thousands,
well,
but.
we've done surveys before. We tried to do a survey of the town for people who had trouble getting internet
Right,
connections.
right.
And, it's difficult to get people to fill out surveys. People are surveyed all the time.
Yeah, so it's more like hopefully if we engage in this process, all of the towns together, then we can have informational sessions and through the library and through the newspaper, and then folks can apply for it. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the, accessory dwelling unit program is low hanging fruit. It's something which many people are interested in. Many people have buildings with space in the building that is not being used, or they have a garage which could have an apartment over it, and this could be income. So this is, I know, of great interest to a lot of people who feel that they would love to find a way to have some additional income and to provide housing.
Yeah, and then just on Habitat, they were delayed a bit more, but the groundbreaking, I mean, not groundbreaking, but the actually starting is on next Monday. And then the website, which we posted on a link on our website in the town, and also I did on Nextdoor. The volunteer registration has been updated. So we still have one more slot for the sill plates next Tuesday, and then unlimited slots on the following Monday for inventory and modular with no skill set needed. But then it goes out through November, so I hope folks can sign up, please.
Great. I will, that's something I think I'd like to put out in the town supervisor
Okay.
email as well.
Okay.
So,
Give you a
maybe if
reminder.
I get a reminder on that, I will
Okay.
make sure that gets done.
Like for those grant
Um,
opportunities,
Mhm.
that they talk about, are there rent thresholds in order to qualify for the grant? So if you were looking to do an ADU on your property, does it?
It didn't seem to be, as far as I know, I haven't read the application, but I don't think it's about being super low income. But I don't know those thresholds of that. I have to look at it because before only certain, like Dutchess County decided not to do it for all of us. So they said if municipalities want to do it, they'll do it. But Repco is handling other places. Like, so you have to look at, but they are allowing for folks to even build it for family members. And it does have to be sort of rent stabilized, whatever you rent
Right,
it for
within the
too.
fair market?
Yeah, fair
Okay.
market rate. So I'll share that once I
Mhm.
get it.
I think it's an interesting program that
Yeah.
we should be focusing on. There's so many different things that we're hearing about in terms of housing, the need for housing and affordable housing, that sometimes it's difficult to sort of keep track of all the different programs. The state is constantly talking about different programs that they have. Many of them really don't apply to us because of our lack of sewer at the moment. But this one, because it is not dependent on a central sewer system, is very interesting.
And then
So-
there is, not to take up the whole meeting rules, but I just learned there's a fantastic ag. They're not grants, but they're loans for people to build a house or ADUs or homes or apartments on their property at 3% interest up to $200,000. So I'm trying to get that info.
Great, all right, well, thank you very much. Nothing really new on buildings and grounds. We talked about the highway garage, we're restoring the fire trucks. But with a couple of very minor items which are still on a punch list, the garage is finished and fully operational. And hopefully the highway crew is appreciating the change in working conditions. I think we don't have anything on personnel. I think on cemetery, there was some activity.
Some
They-
activity
they went up and-
yesterday, and there'll be some more cleanup tomorrow at 9 o'clock. On Sunday, we're going to have a rubbing of one of the monuments. And also, there's been some mapping going on. And now we're trying to we have this really impressive, large map with the monuments listed, but now we're trying to match monuments with names. So we're doing that. And on Wednesday, over at the library annex at 2:30 to 4, we're gonna have the history team working on the mapping, trying to fill in some of the other information about history of some of the early monuments. So we're working on it. It's taking some time.
I was very happy to have attended the last meeting of the cemetery committee,
Yeah.
and the discussion got into a fairly extended conversation about more than just the cemetery, about the whole oblong and why the oblong is. And we're not gonna go into it tonight, but we started with the history of Connecticut and who was trying to get from Connecticut to the Hudson River and how they came right through here. Anyway, I think it is something that
A lot
down the
of
road,
history.
there's so much history there, and it will really be an interesting thing. I know that the Historical Society at some point did have a program on the oblong. And I think that the people would be very interested in having another one, and there's some people around that I've run into who have deep knowledge of that era. So we'll get back to you on that. Okay, moving into our agenda. The first item we have is a resolution to approve a contract with Dutchess County for the removal of snow and ice on certain Dutchess County roads. This is a contract with the county, which the county has proposed in the past. There are some roads in our town which are county roads, which are a long way for the county to come out and plow. And they have proposed a reimbursement to the town for us to take care of some of those roads. We have done this now for quite a number of years. I think from the standpoint of the town, it's been a very beneficial arrangement. These are generally roads which the town trucks, plow trucks, will be going over anyway on their way to a town road. So the opportunity to drop the plow and actually plow the county road, and then for us to be reimbursed for it is a very appealing one. The county has sent us a proposed contract, and we have a resolution authorizing me to sign this contract. Bob, what's your view of this contract with the county?
It looks very good. And
You've been pleased with this arrangement over the years?
yes, I have.
So you would encourage us to do this again?
I would,
And I noticed that they have increased the reimbursement to the town.
they have,
And am I correct that they've increased the reimbursement to the town at the same time that the price of salt has actually gone down?
that's correct.
Just say it.
Small wins.
Let's not waste too much time on this one. Anyway, the resolution has been distributed. This is the same resolution we have passed every year. Authorizing the town supervisor to execute an intermunicipal agreement for snow removal, ice control services with the county of Dutchess. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, would you take a roll call on this?
Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilman Fidele,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood, oh man, sorry, Councilman Mayville. Councilman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wakeler.
Aye.
John will be pleased to know that he's not forgotten. Thank you very much. The next item is we've had a request for a speed reduction on Irondale Road. As I think people are aware, we had a request for a speed reduction on State Line Road and Bilkey Road last month, which we approved, and we have had a request for a similar speed reduction on Irondale Road. It's not a very long road, but it has a very tricky intersection with Winchell Mountain. And so I'm very happy to support a application for a speed reduction on on Irondale as well.
And it's not posted, so it defaults to 55.
It defaults to 55. It is not really long enough to get going up to 55, but it's, I am respectful of the request from the residents that they would like to have that, and therefore I have distributed a resolution requesting a speed reduction on Irondale Road. I think everybody's got a copy of that.
What miles? I'm sorry.
No. And to 30 miles an hour, which is the same as we did on State Line. With that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do you want to roll call on that? No, I think we're good on that. The next item is a resolution of approval of a contract with the Village of Morrison for police coverage. This contract authorizes and indemnifies the village police for coverage when they are in the town. We brought this up last month, but it didn't specify that this is a contract without cost to the town. That is now in the contract. And any comments from the board?
No, thank you for
No.
the cleanup on the language, I think. I just want to make sure it's clear to everybody what the resolution actually is, and it's not for any increased coverage or oversight on the town's part. It's really, you know, if there's an issue in the town and they're on duty, they can respond, is how I
Right.
understand it.
Yes, they had a concern about their liability coverage when they were on duty in the town. And this clarifies that. Warren, you worked on this. You see no issues with,
Not with the cleanup.
yeah, okay. Any other comments from the board on this? With that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution of approval of contract with the Village of Milton for police coverage.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to ask for a roll call on this.
Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilman Fidele,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville, Councilwoman Morrison. Aye. Councilwoman Winkler.
Thank you very much. Okay,
I think we should move to ahead to the
okay,
water district.
yep, we're coming to them. We are going to now move into a public hearing on the water district benefit assessment role. This comes up every year. The water district benefit assessment role is the list of those properties which, in the town, which are connected to the village's water system. And, that list is distributed and, the properties, reimburse the village. Those properties that have not done so, that list goes to the county. Anyway, but this is the list of properties. This is actually the assessment role. And with that, I would like to open the public hearing on the assessment role. Could I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And with that, would anybody like to speak on the water district benefit assessment role? Hearing none, I would like to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Could you describe the assessment role?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
The assessment role is the list of those properties which,
No. The assessment benefit assessment role are the water benefits
right,
that are their charge each,
right, relating to those people who are connected to the,
but not the unpaid.
no, okay.
Okay, I
It's
gave
the
the-
list of people
We've got two
who,
water things going on here.
the list of people who are connected to the village's water
Yes.
district.
And how many units they have or don't have, and if there's been a change. And there were only two properties this year that had a change, everybody else is the same. One property was the Habitat for Humanity property that obviously is building, and the other one was a property that they've removed the house, so it's gone to vacant land, so that's changed. But everything else is the same, so this has to be sent out every year so that everybody's reminded of it, and it's in my office for looking at, for the last month or something, and, so it's here, yeah.
Anyone else? With that, I would like to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item is, I'd like to. This is what I was referring to. I'd like to, ask for a motion to authorize a list of properties in the town of Northeast with unpaid water bills to be sent to Dutchess County. That's fairly self-explanatory.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. With that,
Yeah, do a motion to accept the assessment.
Yes, you go back to that, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
we have now held a public hearing on the water district benefit assessment role. I would like to ask for a motion to accept the water district benefit assessment role.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor
Aye.
with the roll call?
I have to do it.
Okay,
Supervisor Kennen,
aye.
Councilman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Winkler,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville.
Aye.
Okay. With that, we are now coming to an item regarding the Iroquois pipeline. And I had a request for the board to hear about concerns about the Iroquois pipeline. And we are being joined, and I will unpin the town here. We are being joined by Emily Skydell from Food and Water Watch. And I have distributed some materials which are on your desk. This really concerns the issue of methane. You know, as you know, this is one of the greenhouse gases that we've been concerned about, particularly with regards to our closed landfill. So we've heard a lot about greenhouse gas emissions from municipal sources. And let's see if I want to. There we go. Welcome, Emily.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And you probably can describe, well, not probably, I know you can describe the Iroquois pipeline a lot better than I can. But it is a major gas transmission pipeline, which feeds the Cricket Valley generating plant down in Dover. Does not go through the town of Northeast, but it goes through Dutchess County. And a lot of concerns have been raised about it and about the emissions of methane from the pipeline. So with that, Emily, I would love to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah, thank you so much. So my name's Emily Skydell. I'm a senior organizer for Food and Water Watch, and we're a national organization that fights to protect the health and safety of our air and water. And we have over 100 activated folks in the Millerton Northeast community. So, you know, I'm just speaking as one person, but there's lots of other folks in the community that are also looking at this issue and are concerned. So, yeah, I'm here tonight to discuss this disturbing project that will impact the health and safety of many New Yorkers, but particularly in the Harlem Valley. So the Iroquois Pipeline Corporation has proposed a dangerous project that they call expansion by compression. And if it's approved, Iroquois will substantially increase the gas that it pushes through this 30-plus-year-old pipeline. So this would result in a substantial increase in the risk of leakage, in fires and explosions, while also dramatically increasing the pollution in communities that live near the compressor stations and along the pipeline route. So, you know, we were Supervisor Chris was talking about the methane. You know, our country is reeling from climate change, and I know that it's hard for us to not think about this when we're looking at the hurricanes that have been devastating our country in the last couple weeks. So we have to stop doing the thing that's causing the warming of our climate, and that's burning fossil fuels. So in New York, Governor Hochul has decision-making power to do this, and we have power to influence her when we come together. So fracking, frack gas, they're dangerous and destructive at every step of the process. And it's our growing reliance on frack gas that's destroying our planet and our climate. And here in New York, we can stop the expansion of these pipelines and power plants and start to really invest in renewable energy and renewable energy sources. So, you know, we're looked to the state as a state that's leading on this. We passed the climate law, we banned fracking, but we're still importing this frack gas, and it's devastating to our communities and poses a huge public health risk. So right now, I'm going to show you the map just so you can see, oh, maybe I can't do that. That's okay.
Well, I'm gonna share,
You're gonna allow me to,
I believe.
oh yeah, now I can, yeah. Can you see?
Uh, yes, we can.
Okay, terrific. So you can see here, this is the Iroquois pipeline. The proposal, and this is kind of the strategy that these companies are using now in New York and across the country. But in order to expand, rather than creating new pipe, what they're doing is they're creating these compressor stations. So this proposal is to double the size of the compressor stations. You'll see the pipeline cuts all the way from Canada. It's fracked gas from Canada. But the expansion proposal, which is what Governor Hochul is right now deciding on, it cuts right through this region. So the expansion proposal starts in Athens, crosses over the Hudson River, comes through Columbia County, Dutchess County, and the next compressor station that they're proposing doubling is in Dover. And then there's 2 in Connecticut that they want to double the size of, so that the gas can get pushed through the Long Island Sound to deliver to Long Island and to New York City. So it's a proposal that allows more gas to get pushed through an existing 30-plus-year-old pipeline. It's not to deliver more gas to the region. It's purely to deliver more gas to New York City and Long Island, where the gas isn't needed. There's been laws that have been passed that are already in effect in New York City that ban gas in new buildings, that have strict emissions requirements. And so this is what we see as just purely a opportunity to make money, for the company to make money at the expense of the communities that live along the pipeline route. So like I said, Iroquois is over 30 years old. It should be retired. It shouldn't be expanded. And I say this because we've seen really dangerous pipeline explosions across history, across the country. Pipeline incidents like this occur in the US approximately every 40 hours. So from 2010 through nearly the end of 2021, almost 2,600 pipeline incidents related to the release of gas occurred in the US that were serious enough to be reported to the federal government. 328 resulted in explosions. Explosions and fires killed 122 people, injured 603. Many of these pipeline leakages are not reported. You know, this is like scary stuff, and I'm not trying to freak everyone out, but we're at a point where we have the opportunity to stop the risk of such a thing. So that's why I bring it up. And there was the news just a couple weeks ago. There was a huge explosion in Texas from a pipeline that was not even as old as the Iroquois pipeline, and it was because a car hit a gas main. And this huge explosion, I mean, it's just not safe. It's really under sort of, we don't talk about this enough, but this is a very, very dangerous decision that shouldn't be made unless the gas, you know, is needed, and we know it's not needed, and we know we have technology for like so much renewable energy options. So all to say that the DEC and Governor Hochul have the opportunity to deny this air permit and this pipeline expansion. And the decision's been delayed. There's been public comment. Thousands of people have made comment. Over 60 elected officials came out against this. So we expected a decision over a year ago, and we haven't heard one yet. So, you know, we're continuing to just engage more communities in this. We've passed 5 resolutions. The city of Kingston passed one just last week unanimously. the village of Athens, where one of the compressors is being proposed, passed one last night unanimously. You can see here all the other municipalities, town of Poughkeepsie, town of New Paltz, and town of Stanford is passing one tonight. So what we're asking, the most powerful tactic we've seen that's been effective at stopping dangerous polluting projects like this has been through these municipal resolutions. So, let's make Northeast number 8. As a climate smart community, your voices are particularly powerful and can help ensure that this dangerous and unnecessary project is halted before it can begin. So I really appreciate you taking the time to hear this out, and thank you so much, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
One of the things which we've talked a little bit about is the danger of methane coming out of the pipeline as a result of the increased pressure in the pipeline. You have a pipeline which was engineered for a certain amount of gas. They're trying to double it. And very simple physics tells you that, the joints between sections and the age of the pipeline is a concern. This was brought to our attention by one of our residents, by Bill Kish. And Bill, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to what Emily just told us.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I was gonna wait till public comment, but since I'm being invited.
Well, you brought this to our attention, so I'm happy to ask you for your thoughts.
Well, yes, absolutely. As everyone has probably heard, methane is one of the most powerful greenhouse gases. It's in the short term, 20 years being the short term, it's at least 80 times worse than carbon dioxide, which is what everybody thinks about as the main greenhouse gas. So during this critical 20-year period where we're either going to go over a tipping point or we're going to stabilize things, the more methane that we allow into the atmosphere, the worse things get. Additionally, one of the things that I think is really important to realize is that when Iroquois replaces these compressor stations, and the compressor stations are really very large jet engines in effect, they're turbines, they release a tremendous amount of pollution. And the one that's in Dover, we've actually measured the increase in small particulates, which can cause asthma and heart disease, and also the precursors to smog has increased from Cricket Valley. So once they increase the compressor station down there and double the size, that's just going to be adding to the pollution load that's going to be coming up the valley. So to me, it seems like there's every reason for the town to ask the governor not to approve this pipeline. It's not the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do if you're the shareholder of Iroquois Pipeline, because they can make a lot of money on it, whether there's a market for the gas or not. But on the other hand, if they build it, even if there isn't a market, they will find a market for it. That could be an export terminal in Long Island. So I would say, as a climate smart community, we should be smart, and we should try and protect our climate.
Thank you very much. I have, Emily mentioned that there are a number of other towns around us which have passed resolutions urging the governor not to approve this. Most of them are identical. I have left 2 of them in front of you, Warren. They're somewhere in that pile of paper. One from, I think one from the city of Kingston, and one other one. Anyway, they're identical essentially in language. But I think that, as a climate smart community, this is something that we care about. And we have spent a lot of time talking about methane coming out of our landfill. We are in the process of a project which is aimed at degrading and mitigating the methane that is coming out of the landfill. The amount of methane coming out of the landfill, I think, compared with the amount that is coming out of leaks in the gas pipeline is minuscule. So to me, this is something that is worthy of our expressing our thoughts to the governor on. And I would like to ask Warren if you could, for our meeting in November, if you could look at the resolutions of the other towns and see if there's if those would be appropriate for us. They're one pagers, basically. But I think it's a I think it's something of great concern. Ralph, I know you.
I support, yes, that we should pass a resolution banning the
Well,
increased
asking the
pressure.
governor
Yeah, asking
to-
the governor,
not
Yes.
to approve this thing.
yes.
Well, I would like then to bring it back to the board in November. But we'll have a chance to get more material on it. I distributed also something to you, which is titled Executive Summary. And that is that is some pages taken from one of the longer documents that Emily sent me. It was so long that if I tried to print it all out, it was gonna be, our printer would have retired. But it's the heart of the argument and a lot of detail on this. I also distributed a copy of a document about compressor stations. And I have additional copies of that available for anybody that's interested.
I mean, I totally support us passing a resolution, to at least send a message to the governor. There, of course, there's no guarantee that our voice will be the deciding factor, but also there's not many times we have an opportunity to actually be involved when these things are going on. And they seem, a lot of times, in my opinion, just because people can't see it, they don't think it affects them. I mean, I have asthma, I'm rarely affected by like the recent wildfires and things last year, and really was housebound because of it. So these things we can't see. I'm all in support. Our communities we're not getting more gas, we're not making money from it, there's no jobs. There is a moratorium around New York City, actually, I know in Westchester, to even have buildings convert, like apartment buildings to gas, so. I also agree with the statements made that the winners seem to be the people investing, so. I look forward to looking at the resolution.
Anything else on this?
I would agree.
All right, so it'll come back to us in November and Warren will have an opportunity to prepare something that's appropriate for us to sign. And we'll do that at that time. Emily, thank you very much. Appreciate your being with us and look forward to staying in touch. We'll keep you posted on our progress.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Nice to see you.
yeah.
Okay, the next item is the presentation of the Town of Northeast tentative budget. And setting a time for a public hearing. And I know that we are being joined in a few minutes by County Legislator Chris Drago. Because the elephant in the room regarding our budget is the EMS contract with Northern Dutchess Paramedics for EMS services. And that I just introduced you. So come on in and
Thank you.
sign in and have a seat, and I want to welcome our county legislator, Chris Drago. I know that it is not easy to be here on the same night that you often have county legislative meetings in Poughkeepsie.
Yes.
So where we are in the agenda, your timing is actually perfect. So I hope you didn't get any speeding tickets or anything like that.
But there are northern lights happening right now.
What?
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
And we're sitting in here.
Wow. Well,
All night.
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just about to start talking about our budget.
Great.
So that's why your timing is really perfect. And I had asked legislator Drago to be here to hear what my report on EMS services in particular as to how they relate to the budget. We had yes, you could pass that around to the board. This is a map of Dutchess County showing you where Northern Dutchess Paramedics serves and where the other ambulance company in the county serves. But as a backdrop, the budget committee of the town, which is composed of Deputy Supervisor Lana Morrison and myself, has been working during the past month on a budget for the town. The budget for the town, we have really worked hard to keep at a very responsible level, reflecting the burden that property taxes form for our residents and our desire to actually try to get under the 2% property tax cap, which the state has out as a goal, essentially. As those of you who've followed the history of our town, we have always tried to bring the budget in under the 2% cap. We have always voted to permit the town to exceed the tax cap if we have to. And what is really frustrating about this year is we were really on target to do that without the EMS contract. In a nutshell, the town receives EMS services through a contract with Northern Dutchess Paramedics. The town is joined with the town of Amenia and the town of Dover in a contract between the three towns and Northern Dutchess Paramedics. This is a contract which was entered into 5 years ago. It is expiring at the end of December. And we reached out to Northern Dutchess Paramedics to ask for an extension of the contract. The Northern Dutchess Paramedics came back to us with a proposal for a 70% increase in cost to the town. There's no way that we're going to put a 70% increase in cost into our budget and have that be anything that our residents can find acceptable. So the supervisors of Amenia and Dover have been meeting. We have met with the county executive. We were hoping to meet with the Commissioner of Emergency Response, Dana Smith, but he resigned last week after, I think, 18 years with the county. So suddenly there's a vacancy at a place where it's very unfortunate. But we have had one meeting with Northern Dutchess Paramedics. We've made it clear to them that their proposal is just not acceptable to our towns. And we are hoping to meet with them again next week. But in the meantime, the only number which we have, which we can put into the budget is the number that we received from Northern Dutchess Paramedics. So which is a large calls for a large increase in our taxes. The increase, just to give you some chapter and verse on that, would increase the payment to Northern Dutchess paramedics from approximately $376,000 this year to $646,000 next year. So that is the number that is in the budget. We have looked at ways, this would create a really difficult and really unsupportable increase in taxes in the town and particularly in the village, which pays our A fund taxes, not B fund, which is the town outside of the village, or the highway budget, because the highway budget is for the town outside of the village. So we have looked at ways that we can make this somewhat more to soften this blow somewhat. And one is by seeing where we can get with Northern Dutchess paramedics. And the second is by using some of our fund balance to bring in some additional revenue to reduce the tax hit on this. So we now have a budget proposal that does that. We still are waiting to see what the county may be able to do to help us with this. And, you know, this is an appropriate time for us to ask you if you have any insights into the county's thought process or what the departure of Dana Smith may mean in terms of the county's ability to be helpful. I know that the county's not gonna come out and say, we're gonna just give us, you know, a few $100,000 to make up the shortfall, but I know that the county has been sort of talking about a countywide approach to this. And what's, with your benefit of your 10 months now of service as our legislator, what's your thought?
Yeah, no. This is, you know, we're in an EMS crisis around the county, and around the state. I mean, this is not just, you know, we're not in a unique situation. And I was pleased when I came in office in January, how seriously the county executive took, you know, the EMS situation and the EMS crisis around to make it one of the first real priorities that she came out with, to say that you know, that they know that this has been an issue for a while, right? I think we've been admiring the issue for a while, and with a plan to help address it. And this is something that Dana Smith, who, you know, has been our head of EMS for, you know, 18 years or so, laid out a plan. And we knew this wasn't gonna be fixed overnight, right? So that plan included coming out and having regional meetings. And I think Supervisor Kendon, you participated in one of those meetings back in, was it March?
In the
April?
spring, I
In the
was gonna
spring.
say, maybe
Yeah.
in March.
So this is sort of a listening tour, if you will, for Dana Smith and the county executive to go out across the county and just listen to hear what the status of EMS is in different parts of the county. And then with that, now coming back to figure out what do we do about it. And what I've heard is that there's thought of helping to plug some of the gaps with supplemental county service. So looking at the data to figure out where are some areas that, you know, need some extra help, so that we can, you know, the goal here is to get people help faster, so that they can get to the hospital quicker, right? So that, you know, we can save lives. And so my understanding is that work is still going on, in terms of figuring out, you know, where that need is. I also know that we are going into budget season right now at the county level. So at the end of this month, the county executive will be presenting her budget for the 2025 year. And so I don't know what that looks like yet. That's when the legislature finds out what the proposals are, and then we spend a good month or so in meetings, pressure testing the budget, and lobbying for the things that we need. And so the budget of the county is $601 million, a lot of money. And one of the things I see as my job is to be an advocate, for the towns in the district I represent, to make sure that, we're getting our fair share of services and resources that we need based on, basic stuff. And this for me is top of the list. And so I think, going back to where I started with, the county executive, I think, gets it, right? Hence why, there's been a plan and there's been work done to really try to, see where we can solve, this critical issue. But I also know going into next year, I've heard that the budget is going to be cut, that the county executive, we inherited a really bad budget. There was they were looking to, and a deficit that the outgoing administration voted for a sales tax increase to try to make up some of that deficit. But that sales tax increase needed to be approved by the state members of the state legislature. No one in the state legislature put forward or went to sponsor that sales tax increase. So we don't have, good news is we don't have a sales tax increase. The bad news is, there's a budget gap. So with that in mind, we're waiting to see what that budget looks like. We're waiting to see what that means for EMS. We know, just based on the press release that the county executive put out when the news came out that Dan Smith would be leaving, that EMS continues to be a priority for her and her administration. And I will, wait to see what that looks like in terms of her budget, and I will continue to be an advocate. And press as hard as I can to make sure that we get what we need to for our community. I can't make any promises. As I said, I feel like we've spent a year lobbying for this. There seems to be good forward motion. I am really unfortunate that Dana Smith is leaving the administration. He is one of the gems. He's such a just smart guy, and very, very sorry to see him leave. So we'll see who takes his place. But it would be hard to see the county executive backpedaling now on something that she's so publicly come out with this year. But still TBD what that means for our community.
The county's budget year is the same as ours, right? You're looking at 2025.
Correct. Yeah. So we will, vote on the budget, sometime in early mid-December. Prove that for, January.
Mhm. Is it, from your perspective, is there a value in myself or the other supervisors of Mena or Dover appearing before the county legislature?
I think that would be helpful. We have a public comment period coming up. Our next meeting is Tuesday, where there'd be an opportunity to speak at the end of that meeting on non-agenda items. So that would be a great opportunity to come and talk. I'd strike while the iron's hot and try to do it Tuesday if you can, not to necessarily wait until next week, next month, maybe, write a letter. As I said, you're not the only ones dealing with this. I live in the town of Stanford. We have a contract with Northern Dutchess Paramedics, and I think it's $800,000 or $900,000 a year just for the town of Stanford.
And just for a BLS unit,
Correct.
which is a basic life support
Yeah.
ambulance.
Correct.
We, in our towns here, have an ALS, which is an advanced life support unit. So I think it's important for people to hear that, because the cost increases being faced by EMS providers, I think, are real.
Mhm.
I don't distrust, I haven't gone through all of their finances, but I know that what other towns have been able to negotiate with them, Unionville, Stanford, and so on, have been very significant. I should mention that the three towns of Dover, Armenia, and Northeast, the supervisors, we also met with the other ambulance company that works in Dutchess County, which is Empress. Empress is based in the southwest portion of the county. So it is based in Fishkill and Wappinger, East Fishkill, Beekman, Arlington, and Poughkeepsie, and so on. One of the things which is counterintuitive, but it bears saying, we pay more because we are low population density. The towns with a lot of people, the EMS providers make money from the insurance reimbursement from the calls that they get. So for instance, we have Northeast Millerton last year had 256 calls for EMS service during the year. That's less than one a day. That means that the ambulance is sitting there all day long, sometimes doesn't even get called out, but we have to have it. And Stanford has 202 calls a year. By contrast, East Fishkill has 2,315 calls a year. Arlington has 4,000. Wappinger has 2,300. So those volume of calls, which obviously reflect people in need and people who have suffered accidents and need to get to the hospital and so on, are what hurts us in a way, because we don't have a lot of people, and we have a large geographic area to serve for those people. So it is going to be one of the challenges, I think, for the county, and it is a challenge for us. The other two towns all have the exact same problem. We have all had to put in our budget for next year the full request from Northern Dutchess paramedics while we work on getting that number down, because it's the only number we have to work with at the moment. So that's why, I am cautiously optimistic that that will change, because we are working very hard on it. We have not been shy about talking to the press about Northern Dutchess's request, because I think it's important that people understand exactly what they are asking for and why it is unacceptable and not something that we can burden our taxpayers with. So anyway, it's not a digression, it is a fundamental part of the budget that we're presenting. The budget is presented now to the public tonight. And copies of the budget are available in the clerk's office and will be available, the tentative budget. And we will set a time and a place for a public hearing on the budget, which will be at the time of our next board meeting, which is on November 11th.
14.
Excuse me, I can't read.
Okay.
November 14th. And I would like to suggest that we set it for 7:30. Does that sound good to everybody? Let us take care of some other things before that. With that, I would like to ask for a motion to set the public hearing for the town's budget at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, November 14th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want a roll call on that? I don't think you need that.
Sorry, did we post it to the website too? Or no, is it only in the office?
Yeah, Lorna, do we post it to the website?
Preliminary budget.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, on Tuesday, I'll do that.
okay. Thank you, Chris, very much for coming over and for your timing was really perfect, to talk about this. It's an important. It's more than important. The next item is a renewal of a contract with Northeast Community Center. We have had a contract with the community center for many years. And I just want to say a word about the value of NECC to this community. I've gotten to know NECC over many years. I've been so impressed by what they have done with the very limited resources that they have. In so many different areas, they provide services to people, whether it's after-school programs for kids that they run, help with tax preparation, which I know members of our community have helped with, all kinds of other programs, food programs. A small town like this doesn't have a Department of Social Services. NECC really is our Department of Social Services for our town. Bigger towns have resources that they have for the town. So I consider that the contractual amount of $5,500, which the town contributes to NECC, to be, it should be in some ways much more than that, but we're trying to do what we can. We're trying to express our appreciation to NECC for everything that they do. And with that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the renewal of the contract with NECC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And last but not least on this list, the Board of Assessment Review has 5 members, and their terms every year, one of their terms comes up. And this year, Lisa Cope's term on the Board of Assessment Review is expiring. She has done a great job with the Board of Assessment Review, which is otherwise known as the BAR, sometimes confusingly. And she has indicated that she would be willing to continue on the Board of Assessment Review, and I would be happy to make the motion to reappoint her for another term on the Board of Assessment Review. I would like a second.
Second.
Any other comment or not? In that case,
Right.
I'd like to ask for a motion to reappoint Lisa Cope to the Board of Assessment Review.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Next is our public comment period. And I would remind members of the public that we welcome your comments. The public comment period is an opportunity for the board to hear comments from the public and on any topic. And I would like to ask those who would like to speak to us to give us their name and be reminded that we have a 5-minute time limit for public comment. With that, who would like to speak? Yeah,
Hello,
Bill
my
Scott.
name is Scott Colbreth. I'm a resident of the town of Northeast. And I just wanted to say I appreciate the presentation, of the food and water resistance to increasing the volume of the Iroquois pipeline. And, I'm encouraging the board to act on it. And thanks, Bill, for helping clarify the issue. The second thing I wanted to mention was, this may be water under the bridge, but has there been any, is there any possibility of, dealing with the Sharon Hospital that I think at one time had an ambulance that served the community? I mean, it's kind of a far-fetched idea, but it's just an idea.
Yep,
That's it.
all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, Chris.
I have a few other announcements. Couple of things. One, we have, a state grant that's available, for, ADUs. It's been decided, the county's decided not to go, after this grant, on behalf of the county, but now municipalities have an opportunity to take advantage of it for yourselves. So what does this mean? This means that, the town can apply, for money, for middle to low income people to then apply for the money that is then that comes into the town, up to $125,000 per household to renovate an existing ADU or build a new ADU. And so just want to make sure everyone is aware that this is available. This is something that Meg and I have been working on a bit, just to bring the awareness up that this exists. ADUs are really the great first step in terms of more affordable housing, especially in more rural communities. So if there's an interest in applying for this grant, I'm happy to help facilitate those discussions. And we've also been talking a bit with the Northeast Community Center about this as well. But I think a great opportunity, if that's of interest to the town of Northeast. Secondly, I just want to make sure everyone is aware, there's a certified tourism ambassador training coming up at the Stissing Center next Thursday. This is something that Dutchess Tourism puts on. This is something I participated in a couple of months ago. It's a really fun way to learn a bit more about Dutchess County. You could just do it as an individual, or if you're part of a small business. There are a number of people already signed up. It's going to be at the Stissing Center. It's $25. It's from 9 to 1 o'clock, 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You get a little pin at the end. You get invited to fun little receptions. I went to one at the Trevor Zoo this past week where there were a bunch of people from around the county, just networking together. Good way to meet people and meet other people in business as well. So if you're interested, I can leave this here and encourage everyone to sign up. Those are my two main announcements.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you get called ambassador now?
Oh, yeah, well, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Hi, my name is Katie Cariello. I'm actually a homeowner right in the village, but I'm also here wearing two hats. I also work for the Northeast Community Center. I'm our school to work coordinator, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with two young folks through our Youth and Democracy program. They were asked to find something in the community that they wanted to improve on, and what they thought would be a community event that would be free to everyone in and around the area. So that's going to be put on at Eddie Collins Field on October 27th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. There's going to be activities for families, pumpkin painting, face painting. We're going to have a DJ. There's going to be a food truck that's going to be free to all attendees. They couldn't make it tonight. They apologize. It's school night, but they're really excited. They did all the work. They wrote a letter to the mayor in town, which was really lovely. So yeah, I've got a couple of flyers. I'd love to present if that's okay, to leave a couple. I can also leave my email address in case anybody wants a digital copy, but yeah, so thank you. This is my first meeting. I hope to come back again. So thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you sign the sign-in
I
sheet?
did.
You did,
As
okay.
myself, not on behalf
Right,
of any.
you know, that's
Okay,
all we
cool.
want.
Okay,
And if you could leave the copies of the
awesome.
brochures
Great.
with our town clerk, that would be great.
And we have it both in English and Spanish, so yeah,
That sounds great.
awesome.
Mr. Covert.
Good evening. My name's Ed Covert, I'm a resident of Cooper Road. My neighbor Tyler Graham sent me this today and asked that I read it before the board. So this isn't my words, these are Tyler's words. Chris, unfortunately, I needed to be in Arizona today to help my mother. Otherwise, I'd be addressing you and the board in person. A month ago, a group of homeowners on Cooper Road came here to raise their concerns about the fact that you all are not enforcing the town zoning laws. We explained that the town started a legal battle with the Vidiellos in 2005 over their illegal single-family home and won the last appeal in 2018. Since then, not a thing has happened, except we believe the homeowners with the illegal house have been taking pot shots at neighbors with a gun. They also made death threats. They have also fired more guns than any firing range in the area. They have stolen property and trespassed on various other properties. They consistently drive illegal ATVs up and down our road. So a month ago, you said you'd get back to us. Since then, the Vidiellos raced on to our property dressed in camouflage on an ATV. I honestly thought he was there to shoot me and my 2-year-old and my 6-year-old. We were all in the yard, then he raced off. A few days ago, we discovered one of their deer tree stands on the Durst property, on the backside of my property. You finally sent your response to all of us on Tuesday, and all you said was that you were looking into. The court case was settled in 2018. What is wrong with this town? Do you understand how terrifying it is to leave my family home alone under these conditions? And the fact the town can't lift a finger over the course of 7 years means that we are left with no other route but to pursue legal action against the town of Northeast. Sincerely, Tyler Graham. Now, my own personal note, we have talked to the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department, and we have talked to the New York State Troopers, and we have had the DEC come up. So we do have outside agencies, but they ask us the same question. Why is the town doing something about the legal house? That way the people aren't here, they're causing the problem. And we go, well, we don't know. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hi, my name's Jim Cole. I live on State Line Road and part of a kind of an ad hoc group, Friends of State Line Road. And I wanted to first thank Supervisor Kennan and the town board for passing a resolution to reduce the speed limit. And also thank you and the highway department for placing at least one yellow 30-mile-an-hour suggested speed limit sign on the road. And I don't know if one was placed on the eastern end of State Line.
Yes.
So thanks for that also. We have submitted a letter by email to Supervisor Kennan and basically acknowledging the progress that's been made, but also containing some other suggestions. One, namely, asking the board to pursue purchasing or approving the purchase of a digital speed sign so that speeders can be, their current speed can be indicated on the sign. Ideally, a portable one so it can be used at different points in the towns, not just on State Line Road. It would benefit Irondale also and other places. So hopefully Supervisor Kennan, you could forward that letter to the rest of the board.
I've already done that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay,
Do I have to make another comment?
sure.
Question. The agreement with the village police, does that allow them to patrol in the rest of the town if it's not initiated by a resident calling in for help? Or they have to be called in?
That's up to the village.
Oh,
It's up to the village police. All right. I'm missing that page.
Supervisors.
Right, okay. Budget adjustment. In there somewhere. A budget adjustment number 8 for 2024, A funds, an expense increase of $23,508. Less an expense decrease of $3,920, less a revenue increase of $19,588 for a net of $0. B fund, which is town outside of the village, an expense increase of $200, less an expense decrease of $200. And in the water district, an expense increase of $539, less an expense decrease of $539 for a net of $0. Could I ask for a motion to approve budget adjustment number 8?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I have a special abstract dated September 24, 2024. Totaling $13,093.81, broken down as follows. A fund, $3,409.71. DB fund, $9,684.10. Could I ask for a motion to accept the special abstract?
So moved.
Chris, and seconded by Meg.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 10, 24. I have an abstract dated October 10th, 2024, totaling $196,721.25. Broken down as follows. A fund, $73,182.30. B fund, $1,436.04. DB fund, $112,830.89. Water District SW1, $7,626.88. T&A2 escrow, $1,386.67. Payroll T&A, $258.47. Could I have a motion to accept the abstract?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. The voucher committee for November, can't believe it's gonna be November. Ralph Fidelli, Meg Winkler. And Tilly has distributed minutes of the meeting of September 12th.
And October 7th.
And October 7th. And I know that we've all received both sets of minutes. So any comments from the board on either of those two sets of minutes? Otherwise, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve both sets.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. with that, we will go into an executive session. So I'm going to excuse everybody else. We're gonna have an executive session with our attorney, but thank you all for coming out. Stay warm. Enjoy the northern lights.
Yeah, we did bring it up during. We also talked about it.
As soon as I make a motion to go into executive session, I'm gonna stop the recording.
We see. Thanks for
We turn this on.
I will.
Thank you for all that positive energy that was coming from the back. I love it.
Oh gosh, should I move off? I was like, way to be dramatic and make everybody like turn around.
No.
But thank you all for being so